Hazama is the main antagonist of the Blazblue series, or at least that's how it appears on the surface. Hazama and Terumi are two characters who at first glance seem the same, but are very opposed to each other when you start to notice. Today we are going to talk about what Hazama had taken away from him by Terumi, what Hazama wants, and finally, what exactly was Hazama's goal in Central Fiction.
統制機構諜報部の狭間大尉ですよね。
そういうあなたはレリウス大佐の息子さんでしたか。私に何か？迷子センターでしたら反対側ですよ。
あなたのその体にレリウスクローバーがつく。間違いありませんね。
おや、まるでお父上のような目ですね。人を人とも思わない一つの物体としか思っていない目だ。
答えてください。あなたは本当にあの男の創造物なのですか？その器も人格も。
そんなに気になるのでしたらどうぞ直接確かめてみてはいかがです？ただ私もおとなしくあなたのようなお子様のおもちゃになるつもりはありませんけどね。
そうですね。直接確かめてみるのが一番早そうです。次元境界接触用素体とは違う。自称兵器やニルバーナやイグニスとも違う。魂を定着させることが前提でありながら人格を有した魂を定着させる。でも魂が宿るための肉体があればいいわけじゃない。別の
やれやれ、すっかりご自分の世界ですか。まるでお父様を相手にしているかのようですよ。
器なら大樹、魂の個体差はどうなんですか？
レリウスクローバーの最高傑作はもしかしたら彼なのかもしれませんね。
So before we begin, I need to start by talking about vessels. Vessel work completely differently in Blazblue because Blazblue decided to use the term differently from everyone else for some weird reason. But in Blazblue, vessel refers to a subject body that has a strong soul. A lot of the time, these vessels are used for hosting a powerful soul. For example, New 13 possesses Lambda's body and made Lambda her vessel. This does not mean that Lambda is dead, nor is the soul inside of Lambda dead, it is just being subdued. The same thing would apply to Hazama, who is a vessel for Terumi. Due to how strong Terumi's soul is and how long he's been possessing Hazama's body, a lot of what originally was Hazama, or his original personality and soul, has been lost and had kind of merged in with Terumi's. It's heavily implied through X-Blade's Amani Astral Finish, comments from Platinum, and Terumi's arcade that Hazama used to be someone known as Kazuma. Though if you were to ask Hazama, he'd deny it. And there's a good reason for that. Remember how I said that Terumi's soul had leaked into Kazuma's soul? Well, Hazama basically is a combination of those two personalities. Of course, that means it's a whole new identity. There's no, going back to the old identity. But that's another topic for another day if I ever get to Kazuma. When Hazama was finally separated from Terumi, thanks to Platinum and Hakumen, he regained his sense of personal identity. He didn't know who he was, but it mattered more to him that he and the world acknowledged him as Hazama and not Terumi, as well as a bonus that the the world does not acknowledge him as Kazuma, instead acknowledging him as Hazama. So Hazama came up with a plan to gain a further sense of identity for himself. He would fuse back with Terumi, only this time Hazama will absorb Terumi power and soul to where he becomes nothingness. A decent plan if it wasn't for a setback that he didn't account for. There are multiple signs that Hazama and Terumi are trying to get rid of each other. Of course, this is more so because for Terumi, it's to tie up loose ends. But for Hazama, it's either for revenge for his stolen identity or Hazama being tired of Terumi. Which brings me to this. Let's talk about what Terumi stands in the way for Hazama for.
おや、やっと会いに来てくれましたか。待ってたんですよ。何せ何もわからない状態ですからね。あなたの助言がないと。その割には悠々自適に過ごしてたみてえじゃねえか。しらじらしい顔して統制機構に溶け込みやがって。嫌ですね。私はもともと統制機構の人間ですよ。溶け込むだなんて人聞きが悪いですね。それで確認しておきたいんですけど、結局失敗しちゃったんですよね。あなたとの融合は。そういうことだ。あのクソはまあ全部分かってる邪魔しやがって。マジうぜえ。どうします？もう一度試してみますか。口が軽い分話は早いな。さっさと始めるぞ。ああ、こりゃダメだ。東ちゃん、もう一遍青見繕ってきてくんね。前の器カズマ配るの情報を取り込んだんだろ。その通りにことが運べば融合できる。簡単におっしゃいますけどね、かぐ土の地下に潜り込むのだって結構大変だったんですよ。あれのどこが大変だったって？いいから弾でもイザナミでも使って境界に接触しろ。東ちゃん、統制機構の連中と正義の味方ごっこしてる方が楽しいか？前の器にもそんなこと言ってたんですね。かわいそうに。わかりましたよ。人使いが荒いんですから。似合うな、狭間ちゃん。あいつより便利な器を探した方がいいかもしれねえな。
Terami's desire is to destroy the false world created by the Amaterasu system, or Saya, but it's later revealed that Terami wants to make a bunch of worlds to destroy them infinitely till he gets bored, making Saya suffer with just an extra bonus. Hazama's goal is much different. His goals and wants are constantly hidden from us and we don't fully know them. One of the most common things we see Hazama have problem with though are things that are fake. Hazama constantly is annoyed by Jin and Kakura for being fake heroes. When given the Azure, he throws it away because the world isn't natural in any way. And if he were to wish for one, it would be another unnatural world. Even his dislike toward Noel and Ragna comes from them being fabricated wishes. Or at least, that's how it seemed for that last one. Hazama in Central Fiction is only hostile towards Noel and Ragna on one occasion each. For Noel, it's immediately on Act 2 as he needs to arrest her for her connection to Ragna, but leaves after Kagura shows up. For Ragna, it's when he's in the prison cell in Act 1, forcing his memory to come back. But both of these moments are to get the pieces moving, if one were to say. for Noelle is to put caution to her. She might not realize how important her life is and is probably going to just be reckless. Hazama is giving her a warning, basically telling her that people will be starting to come after her life once again. Whereas Ragna, he's making sure that Ragna remember what he has to do. In a way, it seems like Hazama respects the two as he views them as a real hero duo for defying the world's wishes, even if it goes against their own wants and their existences. Hazama, more in Central Fiction than any other game, likes doing his job. It's a fake job, it's not really a job of justice, and yet he really likes doing it. And I think the reason why is, despite everything and how it may seem, he has his own corrupt sense of justice, and that he believes that doing his job is his own way of doing good in the world. What Hazama wants is to be a real hero and to give other people the possibility of their own desires, to stop them from following a dead end. In Act 2 of his arcade, he tells Hibiki that his admiration and loyalty towards Kagura was made up by the Azure. Hazama also tells Lichi she needs to give up on the Azure as her wish is unattainable. In Act 2 of Central Fiction, Hazama is fused with Terumi, but because Terumi is fused with Hazama, Hazama had to be careful of all his actions. Whereas Act 3, Hazama is defused from Terumi again. And being defused, he just acts freely. He helps calm Makoto down to properly think, guide Hibiki towards a way to kill Noelle, gives Tsubaki direction to Jin and Noelle, help Carl discover the essence of a vessel, even. Even Crosstag support the idea that Hazama wanting to be a hero, that being with him only helping heroes in all the stories, not doing anything antagonistic. Crosstag is important because all the characters in the Crosstag for Blazblue get their desire granted, except for Tager. But Tager doesn't really have any desires, so it's fine. But what do I mean by this? Well, Noelle, Jin, and Rachel get their desire of being able to be with Ragna again, with Jin especially being able to fight Ragna again. Makoto gets to be able to be friends with all her friends again. No more of the political strikes that she was dealing with in the Blazblue world. Tsubaki gets to be in a world where Jin gets to be a leader, as well as a world with no oppression really. Again, it's much more of a free world that a lot of the characters get their desires. And Noelle has a secondary desire that is accomplished in the second story. Noelle's desire of being treated as a normal girl is granted to her in multiple occasions. Multiple characters are seeing her as a normal girl and not as the impetus of the world. This is why it's important that Hazama goals that he wanted to be a hero is displayed here. He does nothing antagonistic here and is only doing heroic things, helping people, without a need for any payback. Heck, a lot of characters in Blazblue get their desire granted in the second story if they didn't get it in the first story, or didn't get it in any of the after battle dialogue with certain interactions. The point is that a lot of characters do get their desire granted, and Mori was probably reading the text in the room that he was going to eventually leave and Arc System wasn't going to really do much for Blazblue afterwards. So it's possibly that this game was his send-off to the Blazblue series. But let's get back to Central Fiction. This leaves me with one last thing. What exactly was Hazama doing in Central Fiction?
なんだあの黒い穴は見えますか 私の胸に開いたこの穴が、これは傷跡です。クソ女に刺された傷跡ですよ。
それが傷跡だと？
ええ、そうです。で、この傷がですね、痛いんですよ。ズキンズキンと絶え間なく痛み続けるのです。ズキンズキンズキンズキンズキンズキンってね。厄介なものです、痛みというのは。煩わしくて仕方がない。けれど代わりに自分を認識させてくれる。痛みが私という子を感じさせてくれる。痛みが私の在りかを示してくれる。不思議です。とても不思議な気持ちです。わかりますか？
わからねえよ。てめえ、何が言いたい？
おや、わかりませんか？あなたが聞いたんですよ。私の夢は何かとね。私の夢は知ることです。
Hazuma's goal in Central Fiction has always been to help the heroes in releasing them from a false restrictive world. Which, in other words, means he desired to help the real heroes of the story. And everything seemed to be smooth sailing for Hazama with his good old partner with Terumi. Except Hazama started to doubt Terumi's action. He started to think that Terumi's actions were more selfish in nature, and that he actually didn't want to do anything for the good of everyone. That his intention was much more malignant than he was, going for. In a way, Hazama realized that Terumi himself was the biggest false hero. So Hazama had to aid the heroes and absorb Terumi in a fusion, where Terumi would be erased from the world. So Hazama had to aid the heroes without Terumi noticing, as well as absorb Terumi in a fusion, where Terumi would be erased, once again without Terumi noticing. Hazama would revive Ragna's memories, but he will also revive more than just the Calamity Trigger memories, instead reviving all his memories from the whole series. He would also warn Noelle and Kagura that the NOL is waiting for them to make a mistake. He would fuse with Terumi, so Terumi would eventually no longer exist. He would bring back the real Noelle from the boundary to help Ragna. In his last act to help the heroes, force Ragna into the Black Beast so he can be strong enough to beat Terumi, or make the Master Unit reset the world for the heroes to have a better positioning. Of course, this wasn't fully Hazama's plan. Everything was Hazama's plan except for the Black Beast part. And the reason because is, he couldn't account for Terumi defusing. He kinda could, but he didn't fully believe it himself. So he did what he could in quick effort. He thought to bring back the Black Beast. This is also why in Act 3 of the Central Fiction arcade, Hazama is helping multiple people. He's leading them astray and leading them in ways to prevent Noel's destruction. And this is Hazama's way of helping the people around him. He's shady, of course, and no one really trusts him, but he happened to get everyone into places that they need to be in order to stop Terumi. This, of course, doesn't fully work because of the fact that no one trusts Hazama. Due to Terumi, becoming the Susanoo unit once more, everything went haywire and Hazama had to think of some way to actually, match Terumi. He himself couldn't match Terumi, he knew this, but he knew a way how to. That being, if Ragnar get angry enough, he might turn into the Black Beast. So, this is why Hazama was hurting Rachel, but not killing her. Aurelius tells Hazama that there is multiple ways of killing an immortal, and yet Hazama continued torturing Rachel. And the reason being is that he's trying to get Ragna in place. He's trying to lure Ragna into the cauldron so that way he can just come towards him. Plus, this was the closest location towards Terami, so he was trying to get him close to the boundary as well. Basically, this was his big plan. Hazama wanted to be known as a real hero and not a fake one like Terami. It's just hard to do that when no one trusts you. And because no one trusts Hazama, his plan failed once more, thanks to Naoto.
おお、私ぶっ殺されちゃいます。なんだこの力は。Hazama これが憎悪、これが憎まれるということですか。なるほど、これならてるみさんも強くなるわけです。ラグナ君、このゴミは妹さんの時のように楽しませていただきますので、あなたは早くてるみさんのもとにノエルバーミリオンが待っていますよ。さあ、早く行きなさい。レイチェル、あれ、また死んで生き返りましたか。いやでも人の大事なものを壊すのは本当に楽しいですね。
狭間、てめえは塵も残さね
おお、さすがです。すごい殺意ですよ。これなら今の私でも使えそうだ。
第666拘束機関解放。
次元干渉共通法人展開。
ブレイブルー起動。
Hazama's story is short as it mostly comes from one game, and while you can see some of the hints in other games like Hazama Arcade and Chrono Phantasma, where he has a conversation with Jin, ultimately they are a small piece into Hazama. But I do actually really like Hazama's story. It's a guy who so badly wants to do good in the world that he ends up helping a false good. A story about a man trying to reclaim his lost identity. But most of all, it's a story about a man who failed to be a hero because he worked alone. Because Hazama trusted no one and had no one trust him, he always failed to save the day himself, and instead helped the real heroes in a way no one will ever acknowledge. It's the complete opposite of Ragna, who really learned how to live with others and accepts that he can't do everything by himself. The first step of enlightenment is that no one can live on their own. This is the important lesson that Hazama reteach, and that I feel like he does eventually learn that in the end. He still does it in his own corrupt sense of way, but in the end I still feel like he can be a good person. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.
ハザマ、もうてめえのザレ言には惑わされねえ。お前もここで終わりだ。
終わり。そうですか。終わりですか。ですが、あなたに救われるなんて死んでもお断りです。私もブレイブルーですからね。
狭間さん。
トリニティグラスフィール。僕はあなたのその慈愛と哀れみの目が本当に嫌で仕方ありません。ではラグナ君、楽しい可能性を期待していますよ。
待て、狭間。